Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Friday night and the Unfiltered experience, where we have unfiltered conversations designed to help you shift your perspectives, change your judgments about your past, present, and your future, and to have a truly unstoppable, kick-ass life. I'm Christopher Rausch, and I am the host of this show, and I will be joined soon by my fellow co-host that you come to know and love, Mr. Scott Goyette. He is in transit right now. He's going to be here in just a few moments. So meanwhile, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for being here every single Friday night, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're always here every single week, bringing you the truth, bringing you the unfiltered experiences so that you guys can have an awesome opportunity to shift your perspectives and have a kick-ass life. Yes. We've already got some beautiful people coming on got some people. I can talk. We got some beautiful people here in the house. Let me just slow down for a second. To be honest with you guys, I just literally ran in the door from picking up my son, came up here, set up the studio, changed my shirt, got up here, and we're rocking and rolling. We got Scott showing up here in just a few minutes. So yeah, let's just breathe. What's up, beautiful people? We got Zen. What's going on here? Zen Pool Gaming. Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? Remember to hit the sub button and like button to support the broadcast. Yeah, definitely. What's up, Zen Pool Gaming? You're new to the show, so thank you for being here. I'm guessing you're a friend of Tony's, so a friend of Tony's is a friend of ours, so thank you so much for being here. Got Lynn in the house. She says, what's up, friend? Hello, sister from another mister. Good to see you, Lynn. Thank you for being here. We got Kellen Ann. She says, Christopher, what's up? We got people saying hello. We got Scott in the house. We got the other Scott. We got Scott in the house. He says, hello, Chris. And we got Scotty HP says, I'm excited. So what's up? And Zen Pool says, hey, bro, Manny from Austin, Texas here. So what's up, Manny? Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate you guys. And we got from Peachtree, Georgia. Georgia's on my mind. Greetings, Chris and Scott. It's happening here at Peachtree Corners, Georgia. The world champion Atlanta Braves. Thank you so much. I had no idea who was in the Super Bowl this year. I didn't know if it was the Braves or the Dodgers. I'm just kidding. The Super Bowl. That's basketball, right? Can you tell I'm not a sports guy? Well, I'm kind of a sports guy. Anyways, we got Mary Kay in the house. She's giving us hearts. What's up, Mary Kay? Thank you so much for being here, spending your Friday night with us. Yes. Yeah. So beautiful people here tonight, this evening. We want to thank you here again for being here, whether you're live or on the replay. And throughout this broadcast, we're going to have an amazing conversation. So if you have any questions, if you have any engagement, please put them in the comments. We want to interact with you guys. This is a conversation basically with myself, Scott, and our guests sitting in a bar, sitting in a coffee shop, having a great conversation. And you guys are kind of sitting in the tables next to us and kind of going, what are those guys talking about? They're talking about some really cool stuff. So that's what this is all about. Every single week, we're here 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So put it in your calendar and let us know if there's any particular subjects or topics you would like us to riff on. We would be happy to do that. And we just love and appreciate you guys. You guys are our unfiltered crew. And I got to say, it's been an amazing week. The last couple of weeks of my life, actually the last month of my life has been kind of crazy because quite honestly, I've been really working on myself and doing a lot of inner work. I may have mentioned this before, but a brother of the show sent me this book last week, sent Scott and I this book. It's called The Inner Work. What does it say? An invitation to true freedom and lasting happiness. I got to say, this book really opened my eyes about a lot of different things. So I've been really embracing just letting go and being in the moment and surrendering control. So often I'm always in control of trying to determine what is going to be the outcome, what are going to be results, how can I plan A, B, and C, D, E, F, G. And over the last couple of weeks, and especially the last couple of years, I've just learned to surrender and understand and to really have faith and belief that everything is happening right on time. I have the faith and belief that everything's going to be happening for my greater good. And it's just been incredible. I got my 69 Charger out today and romped on that a little bit and went racing down the street, and just an awesome day. So yeah, we got a great guest for you. I'm going to be introducing him just here in a moment, but thank you guys. We got Robert in the house. Robert Broker. He says, good evening, Christopher, Lynn, Kellen, Scott, Mark, and me. Hi, me. I always got to say hi, me. Mark says your mindset masters are in the house. Definitely got Zen Pool Game. He said it should be the only red letters beside the logo of YouTube. Okay, he's telling people how to subscribe. So thank you. Oh, this is actually Scott. This is Scott. Scotty. I guess this is Scott Goyette. He says, I'm on my phone. The screen is a little different. We'll try from my laptop. So ladies and gentlemen, there is Scott Goyette right there. So he'll be here in just a second. Mark Gassert's in the house. A true Canadian, And Lynn says, yes, I do believe that. So anyways, we got a great guest for you tonight. He is a friend of Scott's, and normally I would have Scott introduce him, but his name is Tony Laudadio. Tony Laudadio is he's Italian. He's Italian. Tony Laudadio. He's a massive mover and shaker. He believes in the power of positivity. He believes in overcoming adversity. And truly, he believes in living every day of your life to the fullest. So please welcome to the Unfiltered Experience, Mr. Tony Laudadio. How are you, Tony?
Doing great tonight, Chris. Thanks for that awesome intro, man.
No, it's a pleasure to have you here on the Unfiltered Experience. Appreciate you spending your Friday night with us. So are you there in Austin as well?
I am. Yeah, I'm down here in South Austin.
Awesome. How often do you get a chance to see Mr. Scotty?
Man, as much as possible. We talk a lot. We text a lot. He has intros for me all the time. And we just love talking about, the power of love and continuing to live every day in the present and trying to make an impact on others.
Nice. Well, thank you for being on the show. I'm looking forward to diving into the conversation with you and thinking about just the things that I just said, the power of positivity and everything and overcoming adversity. When I think about that, honestly, Tony, I think about the last, 18 months, 2 years of our life, thinking about, the starting of COVID back in March of last year and all the different things that we've all had the opportunity to experience, whether it's been the lockdown or whether it's been a shift in our employment, whatever it might be. What are some of your perspective shifts that you've seen during this time that have caused you to kind of reevaluate your perspective on life?
Yeah, that's a great question, Chris. I mean, I think, what COVID and the last couple of years, all the quarantining and lockdown, which is still, affecting our lives every day. I mean, my wife just had COVID about a month ago and one of my kiddos got it. And it took us a long time to have it affect our house, but it did. And I think really though, leading up, the last couple of years, for me, I have a very different mindset about COVID and what it's been like. And, you hear so many people talking about, ready to end 2020 and 2021. And I don't know. I just choose not to look at it that way. I look at COVID and everything that came along as just another chapter in our lives. And, I went through a chapter in my life, battling two different types of cancer, kidney cancer and brain cancer. And, through those years, it really took away, 2.5, 3, 4 years of my life. And I'm still, right in the thick of it. I have checkups all the time and, cancer is always going to be a part of my life, but it doesn't define my life. It's just been another chapter in my life. And it's a tough one. Don't let me kid you. I mean, it's been brutal and all the people that are really close with me and know that. And, Scott and Goyette and I've talked a lot about that as well. And the journey that it took me on. And so then, I start Tony Foundation, this nonprofit cancer organization. And a couple years later, COVID comes around. And yeah, to me, I've tried to treat it like anything else where, hey, yeah, it's certainly disturbed, a lot of people's lives and it's, tragic and unfortunate that so many people have gotten sick and passed as well. But, I don't look at, hey, let's end this year. Like, no, I mean, let's continue to live every day. There's positives that can come out of every adverse situation. And I think that's why so many people have flocked to Tony Foundation, my organization, to help other people fighting cancer, is because I don't say, hey, why me? And, why did this, hit me and my family? Why did this take away my career? It was more of a mindset of like, okay, well, this is the hand I've been dealt. Used to play a lot of poker, it's like, this is the hand that I was dealt.
This is what I got. What am I going to do?
Yeah, let's freaking make the most of it, and I don't know at the time, of course, like, I didn't know what that was going to be like. I didn't know, how I was going to turn it into a huge positive for others. But I had help, and I had friends and family that I talked to about it. And, I always kind of kept that same, positive mindset of, hey, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to fight it. I'm going to be there for my family, for my little kids. I got 3 little girls, and my wife. There was no other choice for me. It's like, I'm not going to bury my head in the sand and say, shoot, this is, what a rough hand I was dealt. No, I'm going to take it on and see what we can do and make it, make a difference for other people's lives along the way.
Dude, I love that. I applaud you. I applaud you big time. I'm a big fan of taking your trash and making it your treasure, given the fact that I was a homeless kid from the age of 13 to 17, living on the streets and went through a lot of terrible stuff. it was my choice to sit there and say, you know what, why did this happen? What was the meaning and the purpose out of this? And what can I do for this? And for me, it was being able to go back and actually mentor at-risk kids, which is what I was. Slow down for a second. And being able to repurpose all that pain and all that struggle and everything else, and being able to have it mean something and be able to uplift other people. I tell every single person in this world, whatever challenges you can actually strengthen you and can actually provide an opportunity to pay it forward to help other people. I want to dive into this for a second, because you mentioned 2 cancers. And I remember reading in your bio, you had 2 cancers. Here's a question for you, Tony. I could already tell what kind of person you are. I could already tell by reading. You started a foundation. So I know this question is going to be good for you. What differentiates somebody getting a diagnosis, say, of cancer or anything else, and stemming between being a victim or being a victor from that situation? Obviously, it's a blow, and you sit there and you have to self-evaluate, but ultimately you come to a road and say, listen, what is this going to do? How is this going to define me? What is this going to do for my life? And some people retreat and say, why me, poor me, and they go into that victim mind status and everything else. And some people sit there and say, fuck that. This is what I'm going to do until the day I die. I'm going to continue to advocate and to fight and to always be open to new opportunities and everything else. Talk to us about that mind shift perspective for anybody who might be watching this thinking that they're a victim.
Man, let me just tell you, I mean, it all starts from the beginning, right? From the moment that, a doctor tells you, hey, you have a large mass sitting on your kidney, it changes your life forever. You're never going back. Right?
How old were you when this happened? Because you look like a young guy.
Yeah, I was diagnosed when I was 29. The doctors had told me that tumor, which was massive on my kidney, size of a butternut squash,
holy shit,
16 centimeters in diameter. They said that thing was probably inside of me since I was in high school. So I could have gone in when I was a 17-year-old, done a scan. They would have found a little golf ball on my kidney. And instead, I didn't have pain. I didn't show any real symptoms along the way. There might have been a couple times where, I thought, man, something might be a little off. But, you're thinking like, hey, I'm a 21 or 24-year-old male or whatever. You're not going to the doctor. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, I never went to the doctor, So, I mean, eventually I started peeing blood, and I found out, I had this massive tumor in me. And so that changed my life forever, right? There was no going backwards at that point. But it was the start of kind of that new chapter in my life. And I had to kind of tackle that. And, 2 or 3 days later, I'm having a big surgery and MD Anderson, et cetera. So, kind of learning how to kind of walk again and do all that. And then, I think, I couldn't really at the time really understand, to be honest, Chris, like really what was happening in my life. It was kind of tough for me to grasp, like, okay, it was so sudden. I get this diagnosis, which I didn't expect. I thought I might've been having, an ulcer or something. I mean, who knows, right? I had a crazy career, and, I had 2 phones always in my ears. And so I didn't really know what was going on. And then all of a sudden, a few days later, I'm in a hospital bed in MD Anderson with tubes coming out of me, so it all happened so fast. But I even, after I started recovering, I never really looked at myself as a victim. I just thought, hey, this is something freaking nuts that happened in my life. And, what a great story this is going to be able, to tell to my clients and everybody that, is going to be, that I'm going to be going back to, right? Because I was out of work for a while, 5 or 6 months, and I was going back to work. And sure enough, it was. I went back to work, had a great story, and, life was back to normal, and that's kind of where it was. And then, I got brain cancer 2 years later, and the rest, completely shifted. And, my career went out the window. And, instead of going back to work 6 months later, I was on, 15 to 16 months of treatment after the brain cancer diagnosis. Did an awake craniotomy, which I detailed to Scott Goyette the first time we ever sat and had coffee together. And he was just like sitting there with his jaw, like, what? Like an awake brain surgery? But, not to, you don't hear that from too many people because it's pretty rare. So, but that's my life, man. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And, I'm never going back to the Tony that was 26, 27, who, I think something that's very important to add when you talk about, did you feel like a victim or what was your mindset at that time?
Sure.
And I think it's important to add that, nobody ever expects a cancer diagnosis or whatever other kind of adversity comes along your way, right? Whether it's another kind of disease, or it's, not having a home for a few years when you're a teen, or your parents in a situation there, or, close friends passing away, whatever it is, you never expect it. It's horrible and it's tragic. And then it's upon the individual that it's happening to to say, hey, look, I can go this way or I can go that way. And I never, ever thought about going that way. I always wanted to go this way. And, it's got me on the Unfiltered experience with Chris Rausch. So.
Holy shit, dude, man, an awake craniotomy. For those who might not know what that is, I've heard of this before. I've talked to some people who have had that. Describe to us that experience. I'm blown away. So talk to us about that experience. And the other question I have for you before you share that, did you already have your daughters when you got the cancer diagnosis, or was this after?
Oh, that's just another layer in the book. That's just another couple chapters in the book. My wife, both of my cancer diagnoses, my wife was 8 months pregnant, both times.
Oh my God.
So just think about like all the joy and all the stuff, all the planning, when you're about to have a child. The first one, I did have a daughter. She was 3. And then the second one, my wife was pregnant with twins. And we ended up losing one of the twins pretty far along in the pregnancy, which was horrific. And then about a month later, I find out, that I was having these seizures and I had a pretty good sized brain tumor. And so, it was brutal. The timing was horrible. But there's never a good timing. And so, so my daughters were born, some people say, hey, you shouldn't have any more kids, and so, because every time
we have more kids, you won't have more cancer. Is that what they were trying to equate? Like, if you have another kid, you're going to get a different kind of cancer.
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, we keep it pretty light, me and my friends and all of our followers, because it's just not something that we, obviously I take it seriously as far as doing all my checkups and all that stuff. And I did all my treatments, but, we keep it pretty light as far as, what we're doing and what we're going through and how we continue to, move forward in a positive way. And I think, to answer that, second part of your question about what the craniotomy was like, it's insane, man. I mean, it's really insane because you get somebody the night before your surgery saying, hey, do you have any forms of meditation? Or, my mom was a psychotherapist. She taught me how to meditate when I was a little kid, never had a problem sleeping, any of that stuff. Right. And so, this Romanian anesthesiologist says, hey, Tony, can you find a way to, you're going to wake up tomorrow morning from the medication. You're going to be in an operating room with like 12 or 13 people standing around you, poking and prodding all over. And you're going to have half of your face is going to be covered by a drape. And we're just going to be sitting there, poking around in your head. And so a lot of people freak out. A lot of people, ask for them, hey, I can't do that. I can't be awake in the OR. The reality is these brain surgeons are doing the surgery because they want your feedback. They need you to be able to tell them what you're feeling, what you're going through in the surgery. So I was able to kind of wake up and I was in the OR and we're doing like mental math and, ladies having me do, count backwards by 7s. And there's other guys talking to me about college football. And it was. And
meanwhile, your skull is open.
My skull is open. Yeah. And, I was in medical sales at the time. And so I asked the brain surgeon, I said, hey, are you using a, number 15 scalpel? I mean, we're just shooting the shit. I mean, it was crazy, man. And I've told this story a lot of times. Right. And fast forward near the end of the surgery, the brain surgeon says, hey, how you doing, Tony? And about a minute later, I'll remember it like it was yesterday. My entire right side started vibrating, profusely. And I said, hey, guys, is it normal that my whole, right side is vibrating? And you could hear a pin drop in that OR. And days later, after some of the morphine and all this stuff wore off and I was all sewed back up, and he came into my hospital room. I said, hey, Dr. Prabhu, what was going on there when my whole side is vibrating? And he said, that was, the sign that we needed to close you up and end that surgery, because if we went any further, we could have, completely paralyzed you. And so you think about that, like total paralysis. I was that close. And that's why I had to tell them what I was feeling. Right. And so, it's an intense story, man. And that's why people have to be awake for it. And, it's different. You don't feel pain. It's just like being at the dentist on Novocaine. You just feel pressure. And,
sure.
More than anything, the most painful thing was I was laying on my right shoulder for 10 hours. So it was just kind of brutal, the position I had to be in for them to operate properly. But, that's my story, man. And I'm sticking to it. So
Wow, dude. Massive, massive respect. I've got like 100 questions already burning through my mind, but I want to capture some of these comments. We got a lot of beautiful people in the house tonight. So I want to recognize these beautiful souls. We call them our unfiltered crew. So what's up? We got the beautiful Serena Buffalino in the house. What's up, Serena? She says, hi, guys. Serena is the CEO of the board of directors I'm on for the company called Help Heal Humanity. So Serena's in the house. What's up, Serena? Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Robert says, hi, Serena. We've got a bunch of highs going on. Serena says here, holy wow, that's strength and resilience and courageous. Yes, absolutely. 100%. Zen says here, amen. Serena says here, Rowena Rodriguez. I'm not sure what that means, if she's trying to ping somebody in here about that, but maybe Rowena Rodriguez experienced something the same as you did. Mark Gasser says, remember, service to others is the rent we pay for our room here on earth. Keep rocking, Tony T. Mindset, set me, please. Yeah. Thank you, Mark, for being here. Scott says, well said, Tony. And Zen comes back and says, Tony has always been humble ever since I've known him. He lives with grace and positivity, always, no matter what happens to him. Dude, there's right there. Take a screenshot of that. Thank you for being here and sharing that. Serena says here, wow, what a wild ride. Mary Kay is like, wow, respect. We got Susie Blake in the house. Susie Blake from St. Louis, Missouri. What's up, Susie Blake? Thank you for being here. I got to tell a quick story. My middle name is Blake. My mom's last name was Blake. So when I saw Blake, I was like, holy shit, that's kind of crazy. You don't see Blake very often. So welcome to the Unfiltered Experience. Appreciate you guys being here. We're here every single week, Friday night, 5 p.m. Serena says yes. Inspiration to us all. Look at this. We got Susan in the house. She says, I'm so sorry for your loss. Most definitely. I echo that 1,000%. I can't even imagine. My wife and I had fertility issues and went through a bunch of different stuff I won't go into right now, but you can definitely understand and respect that situation, and mad respect and love to you and your wife for that consideration. And I mean, everything just going on in your life and just be like, holy shit. I can't imagine at that point being like, really, God, what, how many more things do I have to go through and endure to figure it out? And Jay says here, what a journey. And Jay's here, and Jay's had a couple of traumatic brain injuries. So Jay's in the house, a survivor, a thriver, a kick-ass dude. So thank you for being here, Jay. Let's see what we got going on. We got Scott setting up in the background. We're going to bring him here in a second. I can see him getting all set up. So we got him to the conversation. So given what you were going through, what I think about Tony, and I think about this in the grand scheme of things, I have a 5-year-old son, and how I frame my life now is my why. What is my why? So talk to us about the Tony before the cancer diagnosis and the Tony now, and what your why is. Obviously, you started the Tony Foundation, so maybe dovetail into that a little bit and tell us what your why is, and maybe perhaps some of the stuff that your kids were going through and what you were teaching them about the process that you guys were going through. So the mic is yours, sir.
Man, that's loaded. And yeah, there's a lot to that. So I'll try to attack a couple of those topics. And first of all, too, if I can just rewind about 2 seconds, Susie Blake just posted a comment on there. And, Susie's daughter was one of our Tony Foundation family members. She was somebody that we helped on her cancer journey, and she's since gone.
Hang on one sec. I want to pause for a second.
Sure.
Mr. Scott Goyette in the house, ladies and gentlemen. What's up, Mr. Scott? Good to see you, brother.
Sorry, I've been having every technical difficulty, and I forecast a lot of this, and I apologize. Whoop, there we go.
Whoop.
Sorry.
Stand up, Scott. Stand up. Scott just fell over.
I'm going to actually just hold the thing. I'm going to hold it right
here.
Good
to see you, brother.
Hold it. It's easy.
Just hold it. Just hold it. Glad you could be here. Life is, this is what we do. We just roll. We always roll.
We've got to roll with it. Tony gets it. Tony gets it.
Oh, fuck yeah. He's about to jump into it right now. So, Tony, by all means, by the way, cheers, ladies and gentlemen. It is Friday night somewhere. It's 5 o'clock, so it's happy hour. Scott's got his.
Tony, love you, brother.
Love you too, Scott. Hey, look, Tito's supports us, so I support Tito's. So
how funny. I have Tito's in Coke.
And it's gluten-free.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Hey,
cool.
Yeah,
so,
Susie Blake just posted a comment on there a minute ago. I would hate myself if I just didn't, mention Brittany, her daughter, who is a part of our Tony Foundation family. And I'm just so glad that she's watching right now. Susie, I love you. Love your family. I love that so many of you guys follow what we're still doing at Tony Foundation. And it wouldn't be Tony Foundation without Brittany. She was one of our first 10 or 15 recipients that we had at Tony Foundation. She was special to me. She's still special to me. I have a bookmark, with her face on it. So she's never forgotten. She's an angel that's watching over so many, and she's a beautiful soul. And so it's just kind of like when you talk about the why, Chris, it's really easy for me to answer that question. Tony Laudadio pre-cancer was nothing like Tony Laudadio post-cancer. We're completely different people. The Tony back in my 20s was arrogant, selfish, did things for me and my career, never was about anybody else, me and my family, my wealth, my savings, whatever. My clients, it was like, man, it just consumed me. I have no shame in saying that, because cancer brought out the best in me, which is so crazy to say. I've always told people I don't regret anything that's happened in my life. It's part of my life. It's part of the journey. Everybody has adversity. Everybody's got to fight that adversity in their own way. And hopefully I can just inspire others to fight their adversity in the best way possible, which in my mind is always attacking it head on, being strong, being kind to others while you're doing it. Right. Which, look, I mean, somebody asked me the other day, like, Tony, were you ever in, it's actually one of our newest Tony Foundation members who asked me this the other day. We were helping him. He's got a cancer diagnosis, and he was selected by our medical team. And he said, hey, what did you do when you got into those dark places? Because I told him it's inevitable, right? When you get diagnosed with something or something happens to you, you go through those dark stages. You have to. It's part of the healing process. And
sure.
And I just told the guy, I said, look, all I did during those times was, prayed to God, I meditated, sat, and tried to gather my thoughts before I, made decisions. Tried to be, as positive as I possibly could. Look, I mean, it wasn't all about me anymore. It was about me and my family and my wife and my daughters, the people that depended on me, the people I needed to be there for. And so I had all these motivating factors there in place. And so, the why was very simple for me. When I laid in MD Anderson in that bed for 30 days, trying to learn how to walk again, trying to see if I was ever going to get feeling back on my right side. I thought long and hard, and I had tons of visitors, right? But I also had a lot of time to myself. And I thought, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? This has changed my life. What am I going to do moving forward to change other people's lives? Because I don't know how much longer I have. I don't know if I got 2 or 3 more years or if I have another 50 years. But whatever that time frame is, we all have an expiration date at some point. And I believe the good Lord works in mysterious ways, right? And he put this in me for a reason. And I needed to change other people's lives. And so, here we are, 3.5, almost 4 years. January will be our 4-year anniversary of starting Tony Foundation. And it's 4 years that I can reflect on and say, guys, like, this has been the most magical period in my entire life, bar none. And it's one thing to be able to say, hey, I'm going to do some good. I'm going to help people along the way at some point, when my career wraps up or when I'm retired or whatever. It's another thing to take action and actually do it. It's one thing to say it. It's another thing to do it. We all know that. And doing it is hard. And I think that's why so many people have a hard time doing it. So I took that action. We started, Tony Foundation, and, here we are trying to plan our 4-year anniversary party in January. But it's super special. And everybody I meet along the way becomes a part of it and becomes somebody that can say, hey, you know what? If I need Tony, I know that he's going to be there. And you can ask any one of our Tony Foundation members. It's just a matter of, hey, what are we doing this for? You talk about the why. It's the connections. It's the connections, the life connections, the genuine bonds that you form with people. In my case, it's mostly cancer patients, right? Because I've walked through their shoes. I've been through that fire. At the end of the day, I want to do what I can to help them go from a place of maybe not feeling so great, maybe not liking the outlook of things, to, hey, you know what? I think I can do some good, kind of like Tony is.
I love it, brother. Love it.
Thanks, man.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Susie Blake says here, speaking of which, she says, I feel so blessed to know Tony and to be a part of the Tony Foundation. Love you, Tony. Serena says here, purpose changes life perspective, family, children. Absolutely. Absolutely. We got Ann in the house. Thank you so much for being here. Ann, our family is so blessed to be part of the Tony Foundation family. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes. Just want to make sure we got all that. And by the way, guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask the questions. This is a great opportunity. If you have people in your life that are experiencing something and you can get information from Tony, how to handle it, how to address something, by all means, this is your opportunity. This is a conversation with all of us here as a family. So thank you so much for being here and sharing this, Tony, because it's massively powerful. Serena says, now brave soul for others. Absolutely. Absolutely. Scott and I talk a lot about, and Scott's taught me this, that there's only two lenses that we can look through in life, really. You can look through the lens of love and you can look through the lens of fear. What got you to be in a point where you were no longer afraid? Because I can only imagine, obviously, getting a cancer diagnosis with your kidney. You're young, you're not even 30 years old yet. And you're like, why me? What the fuck's going on? The fear and everything. Like, am I going to die? What's going to go on? Talk to us about that, to be able to absorb that and to just really define, like, for us, it's about living in the moments. Obviously, once you recognize that the moments are all that we have, that's like the present. That's like the gift that we have every single moment. Most of us take it for granted, thinking we're going to live forever. But talk to us about getting over that fear and finding love through that process and creating the Tony Foundation.
Yeah, I think, one of the biggest things that I did, after my diagnosis, really after my second diagnosis, probably more so than the first one, was I reached out to other people that had been through adversity, not necessarily cancer. I didn't really, I wasn't hesitant to talk to other cancer patients because I was around other cancer patients all the time. Conversations would naturally strike up when I'm sitting at Texas Oncology or MD Anderson, which are the two facilities that I've been treated at and had surgeries at. It was more so talking to people that were much older than me and saying, hey, what did you do when you faced that adversity, or, when you faced that in your life? And kind of getting, different mindsets from others. I think one of the best lines that somebody ever told me, it was so simple. And, she's somebody that I'm close with, and she's been through adversity in her life. And it changed the way I looked at things. For a long time, guys, when I was going through treatment and, my kids were just so young, didn't really know what was going on. For a long time, I was kind of thinking, hey, what if this, what if that? That was a problem for me, because what I was doing was I was wasting a lot of my mental energy on things that were out of my control. I was wasting a lot of energy on things that you can't predict, right? Somebody always says, hey, what happens tomorrow if I get run over a bus, right? And to me, that was always such a ridiculous analogy. But it's so true, right? We've all had people that have passed away in car accidents or passed away because of cancer or some other disease, taking their own lives, God forbid. But I've had friends that did that at a very young age. And so, I don't know, I tried to constantly have this perspective in the back of my mind, but it was tough. And then this woman told me, and I'll never forget it. She just said, Tony, the only thing that's predictable in life is the unpredictable. And it was such a simple thing that she said, but it resonated with me. And that's all we can do in life, right? Is try to have conversations with people that resonate with those people. Try to make an impact. Some people don't want you to make an impact on them, but you can try anyways, right? Maybe you can. Maybe you turn those people, right?
Plant the seed.
Plant the seed and see if it grows within them, right?
Sure.
But that was a statement, Chris, Scott, that, man, it took me from a place of maybe a little bit of anxiety at that time. I was still on treatment. There was a lot of poison going through my body, poisoning my mind at times too, right? That took me from a place of, hey, am I going to be there for my kids' weddings? 3 girls, am I going to be there? Is dad going to be there for them? They need their dad. It took me from a place of that to, you know what? Let's just treat every day as a special day that we're so blessed and fortunate to have. There's a lot of people, even, just the other day, I was talking about one of my close friends from high school who died in a car accident when he was 16. I carried his picture around in my wallet for a long time. And, I've lived 20 years past him. He didn't get to experience so much of what I've been experiencing in my life, so much beauty and so much, just this. I love sitting here with a couple of guys at the bar that I can call my brothers and say, hey, you know what? We've all been through some serious shit in our lives. Let's try to, help each other get through that stuff, or remember that, hey, life's precious, man. Life's precious.
I love it. Mr. Scott.
Tony, yes, brother. What's up, buddy? Sorry,
good to see you.
Crazy. I'm just trying to unravel. But one of the things that I'm hearing here that I love, and one of the reasons I wanted Tony on here, is every one of us has a brand. And that brand can be dictated by our purpose and by the universe. And so, you know, Tony unintentionally comes across his brand that, you know, he's working, he's making money, he's in sales, he's a go-getter, he's doing everything on autopilot and kicking ass. You know, he's a badass, period. And then the universe says, Tony, you're missing it. And just punches him in the face, full freight train. And then his brand shows up that it's, you know, it's his foundation and all these things. And, you know, maybe yours, you know, Chris, you know, you got Raw and Unscripted and you're a no excuses coach, and mine's been Go Love Now. And that's spawned from a lot of very negative perceived things, like things that are like, I'm living in fear. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. And suddenly I realize love is the answer, and Go Love Now pops up. We've got Serena Buffalino on here, her whole focus is about help heal humanity. And that's a response to a lot of shit that's gone on in her life that has not been good. And so I love what you're saying, Tony. It doesn't need to be cancer. It could be anxiety. It could be homelessness. It could be healing people. We've all got to step up as individuals and really fall in love with the fact that we're superhuman and we can do some big things to change this world. And whether it's looking cancer in the eye and saying, hey, this could be our last moment, whether it's going to Haiti and saying we need to educate these individuals, whether it's choosing love over fear, all of this stuff matters, and it all has to matter simultaneously. We need to step up and lean into our shit and just fall in love with the reality that we are that powerful. We can change the world. So, Tony, thank you for being here. And sorry I was late. I'm glad I'm here.
You know, and we talked about those genuine connections, right? And
yes.
Look, I got my former boss from years ago is on my board of directors now. I'm not sitting here with you guys without him. We had a genuine relationship that we carried on way beyond work. And now he's a part of Tony Foundation. He's a part of this call. He introduced me and Scott, and the rest is history, man. I mean, he saw that me and Scott would make a genuine connection because of the relationship he had with both of us. And so that's what it's all about, right? Connecting everyone, connecting the dots. Like we're living in fear. Screw that. Let's all love each other. Let's find a way to make an impact on others that need it. And it's a beautiful thing, man. It's a really beautiful thing.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I think that we have somebody in the house that might know you. She says, you're my hero. Tony, I love you. We got Carrie in the house. What's up, Carrie? Good to see you. Thank you for being here and supporting.
A lot of hearts.
A lot of hearts. Right there. Somebody loves you. Somebody loves you. Mary Kay says here, rising out of the ashes of your old life to light up the world with love. Yes, Mary Kay, absolutely, absolutely. Well said, my dear. Well said, my dear. Lynn says, yes, preach and we can help others to share our experiences. I am about the love. Absolutely. So you're going through the two different cancers, and you decide to start the Tony Foundation. What was the inspiration for starting the Tony Foundation, and what is the Tony Foundation about?
Yeah, so it stemmed from those days in the hospital. It stemmed from that thought, like, what can I do for others? What can I do to create a legacy for my kids potentially one day when I'm long gone? Like, what can we do to help our brothers and sisters that are in need? I mean, you're laying around in #1 cancer center hospital in the whole world, right? And you're going, hey, I'm seeing a lot of people walking around trying to figure it out, trying to get better, trying to, keep living. I love that line, keep living. # keep living, baby. It's like, I thought, I don't know what that's going to be. I had no clue what that was going to be. And a good friend of mine, Scott, who's the president of Tony Foundation, he was in my wedding, 13 years ago, and love him like a brother. And he worked for the Special Olympics for several years. And he reached out to me. My blinds were pulled down. I was sitting in a dark room watching SportsCenter one day. And he said, Tony, like, I want to get you up off this couch. Let's go to Starbucks and just talk. And we sat there and we talked. And he said, what's going on? And I said, man, I'd love to do something special. I just don't know what it is. I don't know my direction right now. I need help finding my way. I needed some guidance. And, we started talking about a nonprofit, and I didn't have the first clue what a nonprofit even was at that time. And then 8 months later, after tons and tons of research, we discovered, he asked me, he said, hey, I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember the table at Starbucks we were sitting at. He said, what's the biggest problem in the cancer community? What is the #1 need for most cancer patients? Not all, most. And I said, financial assistance, man. People need help. I mean, think about this. You got a great career going. You get diagnosed with cancer, And all of a sudden, maybe you have disability, which pays you like half of what you were making. Forget about bonuses and commissions; those aren't included in that either, right?
Right.
You're literally, your life comes to a halt financially, and then you're turning to people. Hopefully, you have people to turn to. Hopefully, you have a network like I did that'll help support you financially. Because we all know, like, you don't have a just in case you get cancer fund laying around. It's not there. You're not planning for this, and so, you know, a lot of our money was tied up in other things. We couldn't just pull money out. We couldn't just, I mean, it was a difficult situation to say the least. And so many people are in that same situation. So many cancer fighters are all around us, walking around the grocery store when we're in the grocery store every day, right? Like, it's, everybody knows somebody with cancer. Everybody has that connection. And so when he asked me what the biggest need was, I said, hey, look, man, people need money. People, one of the best lines that ever has been told to me in the last few years was one of our corporate partners, this guy, Scott, who's the director of this big company that we work with, and just an unbelievable guy. And he said, hey, first off, he said, this could be any of us. Tony's story could be any of us. And that resonated because nobody ever expects it, right? So my story could be, you know, John or Mike or Jody or whoever it is down the road, right? But more than that, it was, you know, he said, look, at the end of the day, we all face these issues. And he said, nobody should ever lose their home because they were diagnosed with cancer. And like, how freaking true is that, man? Like, you got a tough hand, like we talked about earlier. You shouldn't lose your home. Well, that's the problem. That's a whole nother story for a different day. But because of that reality, because of the society we live in when it comes to cancer, there's just not any help like that out there. So people can do GoFundMes if they have a big network. What happens for the people that maybe aren't as, you know, out there socialites like us,
Sure.
right? Like that we love connecting with others. What happens to those who are sitting at home going, what are we going to do, babe? Like, how are we going to pay our mortgage? How are we going to keep the lights on? How are we going to put food on the table for our kids? Like, these are real life problems for people right now as we speak. And so we, we came up with a plan. We kind of spitballed. We said, hey, let's give financial assistance to every family that we help. And he said, how much? I said, $5,000. And that wasn't a total spitball number. We thought, hey, let's make it to where, we did a little bit of a study on some research, and we found out that, Austin median prices for mortgage and rent was around $1,500-$1,600 at the time. And we said, which isn't really the case anymore, but we said, hey, could we pay somebody's mortgage or could we pay somebody's rent for 3 months to help alleviate some of that immediate stress that is on their shoulders? And look,
Beautiful.
all you got to do is, watch some of our Tony Foundation videos of us helping families. We do little snippets from our long Zoom calls, typically with these families. They're special calls. We get to know them. We tell them, hey, we're always going to be there for you. Keep in touch. And we mean that with every single one of the families that we talk to. And a couple of families that are on this call right now know that because we stay in touch quite a bit. And so, look, we try to make it work. We try to make it to where they can make their cancer diagnosis work for a little while. Is that money going to be there forever? Of course not. It runs out. But I always tell everybody, hey, when that money runs out, we're still going to be here for you. If you need help emotionally, mental support, anything you need to kind of be there. And it's a big deal to me as somebody that's kind of walked in their shoes. And it's not talk, right? It's actual action, and it's being there for your brothers and sisters in need. We don't discriminate based on the diagnosis or the prognosis. None of that stuff matters to us because, some people say, well, what if they got a really difficult prognosis? Who cares? Let them make memories with their family. Let them take that $5,000 grant. Go to Disney World. Make memories with your kids. That's what it's all about. Why does it have to be grim, at the very end? Let's make it fun. That's important for the whole family. So we thought it through, and we just, we're very blessed and very fortunate to be in a position. We have so many amazing donors that help us do what we do. And it's a really special thing, man.
Tony, I got a question for you because I'm listening to you loud and clear, and I love that urgency of get somebody $5,000 and don't judge, because judging going, well, this person's terminal, this person's not, this person's it. And here's the deal: you're in a position of suffering. If somebody can support that and make that a little bit better, then so be it. And support that. One of the bigger issues, obviously, is I've had some students that I worked with from Denmark. Every year, a group of students, with the exclusion of 2020 and the pandemic, come to the U.S. and they work with me for a few months. And I teach them about what's going on in the U.S. as far as business, talk about NGOs and things that we do to support the world and how we live as individuals. And they're always blown away. And they're like, you don't have health care for all. Somebody could lose life because they have cancer. You don't have free college, but don't you want people to be smarter? And they literally look at me, Tony, I wish you could. I'm gonna take my glasses off. They look at me like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. Yeah.
And when they look at me, and I know I got to work on the lights in here. I ran in here and just got this thing going. I realized the lights are horrific. I could probably fix this. But I want you to understand this. These kids literally look at me and they say, what are you guys doing? Like, I don't get it. Yeah. Because they look at so many people just falling apart in this country and like, but you're where everybody wants to be. You know, everyone in Denmark goes, like, you know, we want to be movie stars. We want to go live on the frontier. We want to go to LA and surf. We want to go to New York and see the big buildings. They have this dream. And I say, there's a beautiful dream, but there's something missing. What could we do, or what could you do, or what could we do collectively to really interact with politics or interact with whatever it is that we need to do to fix this system that doesn't even allow this? And we don't have to go down that road if you don't want, but it's a road that, because I've traveled and met so many people, they look at us and they go, how? Why?
I was just playing golf last week with a guy who's from London, and he looked at me the exact same way, except he already knew because he lives here now. But his mom, you know, his mom's battling cancer, and me and this guy struck up a bond. It was the first time we had ever met playing golf, and we struck up an immediate bond because of that cancer, that, you know, that common thing that's going on in our lives. And he, you know, he's kind of blown away in the same way you are, right? The same way when, you know, the kids from Denmark come over. I was doing a presentation in person prior to COVID, right before COVID, in Florida, in the Tampa area. And there was about 65 people at this company that were sitting there listening to me talk for about an hour. And at the very end of it, you know, Q&A is always my favorite. You know, so anybody that wants to leave comments in the section, please do. I always love that because, you know, I've been there, done it, and I can, you know, hopefully help others. But, you know, this one girl in the crowd asked me a great question. She said, hey, you know, it was a great question. No questions are bad. Are you going to go in front of Congress and, you know, are you going to try to blah, blah? I said, no, you know what? This is my mission. You know, my mission, my program, my time is spent doing what we're doing, and it consumes a lot of my time. Just ask my wife, Carrie, who put all the hearts on the screen a minute ago. It consumes a lot of my time. And so I'm going to focus on this, and this is going to be my focus. And we're going to try to do as much as we possibly can with that. In that Florida team, you know, they helped and they supported, but the reality is, no, that's not for me. And maybe it's for somebody else. Maybe that's a lane for someone else to drive through. But it's not for me. And I'm going to take what we're given, the circumstances that we have. You know, I talked earlier about, like, what do those people do that, you know, go on disability like me? Well, shit, man. A lot of people don't even have disability at their companies. You know, we had one guy recently, he was a realtor. He made a pretty good living for him and his wife and kids. And, you know, all of a sudden, you know, he went out, he had nothing. I mean, he couldn't work. He didn't have any benefits. You know, he was on his own. So you just never see it coming. And all we're trying to do is help more and more people like him, more and more people like Brittany Blake, who we talked about earlier. It's just, it's really rough, and people need the help. And so that's why we're here. And it's such a special thing that I'm able to, you know, spread the word about Tony Foundation and what we're doing because I've lived it. And, you know, we talked like earlier, I loved your question earlier, Chris, where you say, hey, the before and after of cancer. I mean, gosh, man, if we don't make the most, you know, post adversity, what are we doing? You know, what are we doing? Like, we're not living anymore if we're not doing something to make a difference for others.
Ooh, I got a question. So based on that, dude, I love your energy. I love your enthusiasm. We're going to be fast friends. I'm the no excuses coach. So I can only imagine from your perspective, your experience and everything, what do you say when people who have not had cancer, they've not had a fraction of the challenge that you've had, and they don't even know who you are, and like, oh my God, Tony, it's so hard. Oh my God, I never feel like doing. What do you do with all the excuses and all the whining and all the different stuff that people are saying? What is your response to people who are sitting in that victim mindset, who necessarily don't know that they need to get out of that and become a victor? How do you handle some of those excuses, and what do you say to these people to inspire them to think differently?
Yeah, That's tough. I mean, I do my best. I'm around people that do that frequently. And I don't ever want to be, I don't want to be judgmental of people that complain. Look, do I complain? Do I have negative energy occasionally? Of course, right? It's natural.
Yeah.
You know, we have bad days. You know, you eat something that doesn't appeal, or you don't sleep well, or whatever. You know, it brings out some of that negativity occasionally, but gosh, man, like I try to do my best to give people a different perspective. Somebody mentioned that a little while ago on the comments. They said, you know, great perspective or something along those lines. To me, that's all we have is our perspective on situations, right? You know, we talked about COVID earlier, and I feel so bad for a lot of people that really suffered through COVID and had, you know, family members and all of that. But it's still the perspective we put on life. Like, how are you going to live that day? Whether it's COVID or whether it's something else that comes along 10 years from now, like we still have a choice. We still have a choice to be positive or to go down that rabbit hole, which is not fun, man. It's not a good place to be. And it kind of rubs off on everybody, right? So I've always, you know, my brother and I used to talk about this a lot, and he shares a lot of the same philosophical things that I do when it comes to positive energy. And I think it's very healing too when you have a condition, right? You know, I've heard some great stories. I've listened to other people that were very, very positive with cancer diagnosis, and man, all of a sudden, you know, their cancer was gone. I mean, who knows, you know, how that actually heals. But that's a choice that I make, to be positive and say, hey, you know what? Every day is a good day. You know, a great example of this with me and my brother when we used to talk about this was, you know, you surround yourself. This was, he and I were talking about, I think I was in college when we had this conversation, and my brother, Carrie, same name as my wife, Carrie, but which everybody always got confused. Carrie Laudadio. But
you married your brother? What?
Yeah. My dad
used it 11.
My dad has this horrible story about that, which I won't repeat, but he's just,
I can only
imagine. I've heard
imagine.
that story, but anyway, so me and Carrie are talking, I'm back in college, and he's like, man, you know, at the time there was some stuff that I was going through in my life, you know, college kid, right? You're trying to figure it out. And he said, hey man, just don't surround yourself with the poison. And I figured it out right when he said it. But, you know, I was spiraling a little bit, you know, and sophomore, junior in college. And he said, get rid of the poison in your life. Try to, you know, get rid of that. And I did, and, you know, ended up in the library a lot and did some good things, you know. So bottom line is, like, man, I can't have that negative energy around me. And sometimes even me and my wife, you know, kind of joke about it. And, like, hey, you know, when we complain about things, we always kind of have to keep that perspective in the back of our minds. Like, look at what we've been through. Look at what we've conquered. Look at what we continue to conquer, right? Like, how can we sit there and complain about small things, the little things? Like, we've been through so many big things. Like, we have to move beyond that and get back to, you know, get back to kind of doing what we do, which is, you know, prosper, inspire, you know, get through, conquer, you know, continue to motivate each other, right? I mean, when we have those dark spells, it's like, you got to remember, I don't forget the past. You know, I can talk to you like I have earlier about, you know, my cancer story. It's so vivid, like it was yesterday, because I don't forget. That's a part of my life. And that's something that's always going to be a part of my life. But again, like, I would never want to say, oh, I got to forget about this cancer stuff. No, I mean, for one, like, I can't forget about it, right? I'm reminded of it all the time and what I'm doing with Tony Foundation.
Forget about it.
But it's my story, and it's our story, right? It's me and my family story. And I teach my kids about, like, hey, you know, you're going to go through some shit in your life. You know, you're going to have crap thrown at you occasionally. And it's all about that choice and that direction that you choose. What are you going to do when that comes along the way? And do they get it right now? I don't know. I mean, I hope so, but I'm not going to stop. I'm going to continue to try to inspire them that way. And look, guys, I also see very, very successful people complaining about stuff all the time. And I'm going, hey man, like, it doesn't matter how much success you have in your life. You know, we're always going to find ourselves kind of, you know, bitching and moaning about certain things that we, you know, irritate us occasionally. But man, like, I choose, and that's just my choice. It's not your choice, Scott or Chris, like, but I choose to kind of maybe stay away from that and walk away from some of those situations. And I don't talk politics with my friends and family. That usually ends up in a bad way for a lot of people, right? So I have my beliefs, and that's why I think I can keep a positive mindset, because I do get rid of a lot of that poison.
Healthy.
Yeah. For somebody that's, had a lot of health problems, like, I'm trying to be as healthy as possible. Yeah, I might have a little Tito's, or I might smoke some briskets here and there. But yeah, look, I'm going to live my life. I'm going to live every day to the fullest if I can.
Here's the reality. There's enough stuff that hits you that's going to create an unhealthy, part of you. So if there's parts that you can control in the health, and whether that's accepting political arguments with people, or bringing foods in your body that aren't good, or listening to the wrong news station, avoid the things that you can and confront the things that you must. It's not rocket science. It's that the problem is we take in so many things from the outside, so many inputs that are so negative, and then we wonder why we just feel overwhelmed. Honestly, I'm listening to like what you guys are talking about, and there's so many things, to your point where you're saying with your family, with your wife, there's so many things that can be, day to day and frustrating and irritating. But at the end of the day, we have the moments, and Chris talks about it all the time. He's like, the moments, take those moments, enjoy them, realize the fact that there's going to be a bunch of things bouncing off us all day long that are inputs that are frustrating as all hell. But at the end of the day, the thing that's going to make us the healthiest and help us heal is just enjoying each other and those connections that you talked about. If you find your superpower, and right now your superpower for you, without question, Tony, is assisting other people who are suffering. For me, I would say it's empowering those who have lost hope or are struggling to find their brilliance and share it with the world. For Chris, it's helping those people to overcome those excuses. Like, we're dialed in. And if everyone was as dialed in as us and supporting the world and stepping out of our own way, because we're all nightmares for ourselves. Yeah. We really are. I'm driving out here. We're trying to get here on time. I got my wife yelling at me, telling me I'm driving like a maniac and I'm being a nutbag. And in reality, she's right. But I'm a really good driver. And I don't mean like Rain Man. I'm a really good driver. So here we are, 20 minutes late. I should have been 40 minutes late, but trust me, I'm qualified for F1 at this point.
In other news, a man in Austin, Texas was seen driving 145 miles an hour in a white BMW
on 2 wheels effectively, and we're really proud of him. So, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Nice. I love that. I want to capture this comment right here so that the people on the podcast listening to it can hear this. Scott says here, thank you, Scott, for being here. He says, Tony really connects with the patients and their families. And for those who want and need that connection, he is their friend for life. Dude, there's so many different testimonials here to the fact that you're living your why, that you're actually making an impact in the world, that you're truly authentic and genuine about what it is that you're doing. So many people will do it for the ego's sake, like we talked about at the top of the show. And coming from a different perspective, when I think about the discussion that we're having here, it's really about taking responsibility for not blaming, right? We talk about taking responsibility and then accepting what it is that we are going to choose to do. You've said that so many different times. Choices. If say somebody's listening to this conversation right now and they're feeling like, well, I haven't had cancer and I haven't had this, and they haven't had that thing that's going to happen in their life that's going to change their perspective like we all have had, what would you say to them to have them to invite them to start to shift their perspective before something really bad happens?
Yeah, look,
no pressure.
That's such a great question, Chris, because look, I think I'd be lying if I said I think it takes something in your life, whatever that is. I think it takes a certain act or a certain occurrence in your life to have that kind of shift that mentality. I think it's difficult to get somebody that says, hey, my life is great. I love everything that's going on. I'm in the perfect place in my life. That's usually the time where something's going to happen to screw that up. Right. Like, right. Look, that's kind of where I was when I was 29 and all of a sudden, I start peeing blood every so often. I'm going like, oh, this is just some food dye coloring or something. No, it couldn't be anything serious.
Who did I sleep with last night?
I mean, it couldn't have been something bad, right? And then all of a sudden, then your life, gets flipped upside down. So I think it does take something. And I think everybody has that something. Sometimes they just haven't realized it, or maybe sometimes they need help kind of realizing it. Look, I mean, I have so many great people around me that have helped shape who I am now. So I'd be lying if I said I just did this on my own and man, like I turned into this different person after cancer. No, I mean, Scott Patterson, who was just on there, he helped shape this life that I have now. Carrie, my wife, helped shape the life that I have now. She was taking care of our kids, an infant, right? Like as I'm going through brain treatments, I mean, like she's the hero here. I'm just the one who, kind of is a product of her support and, her being so strong. And I talk about that in my bio, I think on the website, like she was my rock. Without her, where would I be? I don't know, man. I can't say that because she was there the whole time being my rock. So it's, I think it's tough. I mean, look, everybody has that adversity in their life. You choose how to deal with it. And all we can do, the three of us, I love, that you guys are making a difference in people's lives as well. Those are the people, right? Those are the people that are not poisonous that I want to surround myself with. That's why I'm on this call, right? Like it's the reality of our life. Like we have to be able to compartmentalize things that we can, that the stuff that we can control, and then do what good you can do with this life that we've been blessed to be given, right? Like we don't, like you said a minute ago, Scott, like there's so many things that are out of our control. I don't know how long I have to live, but I'm going to make a difference every day while I am here. And every time I get an application in my inbox from one of our oncology workers that says, hey, Tony, I got a new Tony Foundation family member. I don't know. There's something that happens in my soul, guys, in my heart that feels good. Like, hey, I'm going to be giving these folks a gift really soon that will hopefully change their lives. And look, people don't go into the oncology places asking for financial help if they don't need it, right? So we know that we're helping people that really do need it in that moment. And we're able to put it in their hands pretty quickly too, which is awesome. But the reality is, man, you just try to inspire others and hopefully, you touch people in a way that makes them want to do something better for others as well along the way.
Yeah, I love it. And Tony, to my point, when I was talking about like a brand, one of the things I think a brand, personal brand is really just our purpose. And, when I see you like nonstop, you're at a golf tournament, you're speaking here, even when you're up in, Lake Tahoe, you're still talking about the foundation. You're still So my friends literally would probably tell you, if Scott doesn't shut the fuck up about Go Love, I'm going to punch him in the face. And I'm quite sure that your friends
Go Love now.
Like,
Go
if he didn't have cancer, I might kill him. Like they're literally thinking like stop talking about the foundation. But here's the deal. If we all talked about what we're passionate about so much that brilliance is just pouring out all over the place, that people know that's what our truth is and that's what we mean and that's what it's about. Imagine if everyone was doing what we're doing. People kind of almost like think they get annoyed of it, but hey, listen, like keep saying it. I'm going to keep saying it because the people it resonates with, we're shifting lives. I mean, that $5,000 that takes someone to Disney or pays 3 months rent. I mean, God, we could talk about those stories all day long because that spreads far and wide and changes lives. Somebody who hears Go Love Now and has this big shift or has no more excuses because of Chris, like, listen, there's 3 of us here. Everybody listening to this now and in the future, you can do the exact same thing. Keep strengthening that brand. Keep leaning into that purpose. Keep growing what you're sharing with the world and just change things because there's people who need us. There's people, whether it's cancer, whether it's anxiety, whether it's excuses, whether it's, I don't care what it is. We've got to all lean in because we're doing some beautiful things. And I can't thank you enough, Tony, because I see your passion. And trust me, if you notice, I comment on all your social media shit because when I see it, I know the passion that comes behind it. I mean, I could be half asleep. I'm like, I'm going to put something down here because I see your passion and I echo it. And I love you for it.
Thanks, brother. Well,
beautiful.
I love you for what you're doing too, man. I just want to throw one little comment in there too. Maybe kind of a question for you guys too.
Sure.
Have you guys seen, I know I've seen this, and this is, I guess, the comment portion. We had an event last Saturday. We had 70 people come out at the Grand Social Billiards Room. It was an amazing event. I had so many people that I connected with all day, throughout the day. I've had so many relationships that, I knew somebody, I knew them a little bit. And then all of a sudden, because of what we're doing, because of where my passion is now, those relationships have morphed into something different, something amazing. And I guess I wanted to ask you guys if you've seen that, because to me, it's one of the most amazing things that I've seen. You talked about, I spew this stuff all day long, right? Like I have to, right? Like it's what I'm passionate about. If I can help somebody by doing it, it's all worth it, right? And so what I've seen though is the people that I had those fringe relationships with, who are now I consider some of my closest friends. It's such an amazing thing to see, because then all of a sudden you realize that, hey, yeah, Tony, I think you're inspiring these people. I think maybe your passion is rubbing off on them. To me, that's maybe the most special thing that's come out of Tony Foundation, is the relationships and the people that you can affect, based on your passion, right?
Tony, I want to answer that one, because what you just explained is exactly what Chris and I teach. What you just explained is when you elevate your frequency or your vibration, what happens is new people step into the game. And I've heard so many people say, if you have too many friends, you're fake. You only can have so many friends and all this stuff and all this. And I'm like, that is just fluffy gaslighting bullshit. And here's the deal. When you're young, you might have a few close friends that stay with you indefinitely. And when you say that's the end of it, you just literally close the opportunity for everything this world can offer you. Yeah. When you elevate in vibration, and I want people to hear this loud and clear, because you just said it so eloquently. When you elevate in vibration, when you elevate in frequency, which is what you're doing, you're solidifying your brand. You're saying, this is my purpose. This is why I'm here. I'm bringing people together to solve this issue. Those people who show up, they're showing up organically because you leveled up. And when you level up, you connect to solve new problems. And so you just literally explained the evolution of what we're supposed to be as human beings into spirits living in human form. People are missing this. Yeah. So what you just said should be the whole podcast, because when somebody elevates to that space, because Tony, when we were a kid, we probably would have loved each other in a different way. We would have met each other, been competitors, been like, hey, let's drink a beer, let's do a shot. Hey, Tony, hey. And then
hey, Tony.
But I'm sure we would have liked each other in a different way. But then we see each other now, we're like, wow, that's a beautiful spirit. Like, I don't care about any of your shit you've done. I look at you and I see your energy. I'm like, I love that guy. That's how I feel about Chris. And I want people to get to that level where we're just walking by people going, you make me feel good. And I want to share what you're sharing. And what are you about? And that's what you're talking about. And I want to ask everybody listening to this to try and take the first step of awareness to elevate to that space where you find your purpose and you share it. And the people that you meet at any point in your life, you can meet a new best friend in any day, because the story starts now. And I thank you for bringing that up, because that's something we don't. Yeah. Chris, you got anything to add to that?
Big time. I echo that 100%, Scott. For me, for those who are watching that are not familiar with us, for me, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, if you talked about love and spirit and source and all this other stuff, I'd have been like, what? No. Here, I've got the recipe for success. What you're saying, Scott, is it's really just when you open yourself up and you open yourself up to the next experience. And when you open yourself up to be a soul having a human existence, like a human experience, you can't help but run into other souls that are beautiful like you guys. And we just start amassing more and more beautiful people. My hope and my dream is that more of us come out, more of us find that experience where it causes us to shift our experience and to really realize that the present isn't in the egoic stuff. It's not in the material wealth and everything else. Like I was sitting there saying before, the book that Vercel had sent us, this book, The Inner Work, it really talks about, separating from the ego and separating from the need and the desire to be validated and significant and everything else. When you show up in the world and you're putting out your heart and your soul and you find something that you're passionate about, you just resonate and you start attracting other people into your life. It's amazing. It's amazing when you find the purpose in your trash. We call it taking your trash and making it your treasure. It's absolutely amazing and beautiful. The people and the souls that you meet and the opportunities that you have in your life are absolutely magical. And there's something I wanted to share with you, Tony. You will appreciate this. Back in 2016, I got this tattoo, and I'm going to try to show it on the camera right here. But can you, oops, hang on. My desk is going up.
Yeah. What doesn't kill me only makes me stronger.
What doesn't kill me only makes me stronger. I have a rising desk, and it all of a sudden I must have pressed a button. Now I pressed another button. All right, let me get it back up here. So yeah, I mean, when you find meaning and passion and purpose in whatever it is that you're doing, that's a huge banner to wave. And I just gotta give you mad respect, dude. I'm so happy that I met you. We've been going for an hour and 10 minutes already. Normally we go for about an hour. So I want to respect everybody's time. I want to catch a couple of comments. I see Scott dropped off. Poor guy. He must be having technical issues. We got Ann in the house. She says, I'm so glad, Tony, I listened to this calling. Because of that, our family was blessed to meet him. Thank you, Ann, for being here. She also says, he put a smile on my husband's face. I will never forget. A perfect stranger helping others with his own diagnosis. NEGU, you are making a huge difference. I'm not sure what NEGU means. Do you know what that acronym is?
No, but maybe she'll tell us.
Okay. Tell us what NEGU means, because I'm not going to try to say that because I might say it wrong and offend somebody. But seriously, I've got to have you back on the show because I want to respect your time and respect everybody else's time. Obviously, they can get a hold of you through the TonyFoundation.org. My final question to you before we close out the show, and hopefully Scott can rejoin us before we do that, is what has been the biggest learning opportunity for your daughters through this experience? What have they taken at such a young age that you feel that they know, whether you go tomorrow or 10 years from now or whenever it might be? What message do you think is instilled in their hearts and their souls that they're going to be able to continue on for the rest of their life? What do you think they've learned from all of this?
I think, just showing that, hey, just kind of like your tattoo says. I mean, what doesn't kill their dad only made him stronger, right? I mean, look, when I talk to my kids all the time, we talk about this. They love watching some of the videos of the families that we help. They love seeing that, hey, we're like, I think daddy's doing something special. I mean, it's something that, look, kids that are 6, 8, and 11, like my kids are, I mean, they see this stuff. They realize it. They know it. They know that something good is going on there. My 11-year-old especially. She's been to actually one of the events with us and, got to hear me speak to everybody about my story and about what we're doing for families. And it's just such a cool thing. I think you're teaching them the best lesson we could possibly teach. There he is. I'm trying to teach them the best lesson we could possibly teach them, which is, look, we don't know what's going to happen in our lives. It's about taking that, adapting to whatever that situation is, and making the very most of it. And like, I loved what you just said, Chris. You talk about all the material things and all the wealth. It's like, what does that do? You don't take it in the grave, right? We always hear all those sayings. It's like, who cares? Nobody cares. I don't care that some of my best friends in the world are, their careers advanced tremendously after my career stopped. Well, I found a new career. I found my calling, like Ann said a minute ago, and it is my purpose. So many people have told me, that's your purpose, Tony. I know it is. Trust me. Like, I had that calling that maybe I did or didn't believe in when I got it. But when I got it, I knew it. And so just trust your heart, trust your instincts is what I tell people a lot too. Is like, my instincts said, Tony, go with this. Did I doubt it? Like, maybe a little bit, but I went with it. And look where we're at now. It's amazing. So I just try to tell my kids, I try to instill in my kids, like, you can be anything you want to be. We all say that. It sounds cliche sometimes, but they're seeing that. Dad didn't want to be the guy who made, bukus of money. Dad wanted to be the guy who took that sacrifice and said, hey, I'm going to help others so that their lives are going to be better because of it.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So they can get a hold of you at the TonyFoundation.org. Guys, please do that. You guys listen on the podcast, TonyFoundation.org. Go check it out. Please support the organization. Please support Tony. He's obviously a genuine dude. Dude, I can't wait to have more conversations with you. We're going to have you back on the Unfiltered experience and have more. I could literally ask you another 20 questions, but in interest of time for everybody else here, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up right now. Any final thoughts for the viewers and the listeners that are out there today?
Keep doing good. Keep doing good. Do as much as you can, and I see so much good and I see so much generosity. I see so much compassion on a daily basis because of what I do now. Right. And so just keep trying to do good. If you're doing good, whatever it is, whether it's volunteering, whether it's donating, or whether it's just trying to make a difference in other people's lives because of what you've seen, keep doing good. There's so many areas that need the help, whether it's cancer or people that need drinking water, right? Like, we all need to be able to help others at the end of the day. That's what it's all about.
Speaking to my heart, brother. Speaking to my heart. Final thoughts, Scott, before we send Tony back to the green room and we round out the show?
Oh man, I echo what he said, saying like 5,000%, because, I think one of the things that happens is the information overload and sensory overload right now with the world, that we've got so many friends, we've got, and I'll be honest with you, Serena's listening right now. We've got Serena saying help heal humanity. I've got a friend with, like you just brought up, water. I've got Well Aware, right here in Austin. I've got you. Yep. I've got so many friends who are involved in nonprofits doing so many things that honestly, sometimes I'm like, but here's the thing. I would never trade that. I would far rather have you guys all doing the right thing and me being in a little overload than have none of it going on. So we've all got to step up and make the norm that we've got all these things, all these people just living their truth, finding their purposes and living it. And the ask doesn't mean it always has to be answered by every person all the time. Like I can't drop $50 every single time I'm asked, but I can do this. I can share. I can reinforce. I can do a podcast. We don't need to be embarrassed by the fact that we have friends that we can't support all the time. We just need to fall in love with the reality that we've got good people around us doing good things. And Tony, you said it very simply. We're doing some good things. That's it. So I echo it. I love it. I thank you for being here. You're the best, brother.
Love that. Love you guys, man.
Awesome. Well, there's the Unfiltered experience. We're going to put you in the green room. Don't go anywhere, Tony. We're going to wrap after we close out the show. So Scott, man, thank you so much for introducing us to Tony. I mean, just a miraculous, just a heart-centered dude. I mean, I literally, when I first got on the call with him before you got here, we were just like engaged and connected. I was like, you were right. You're like, you're going to love him. Like, fuck. As soon as he got on, he's like, dude, I got my Tito's. I'm like, right on. I got my fucking vodka and Coke. Just totally just vibing. And obviously he brought the people in the house tonight. I mean, a lot of people showed up. Ann saying here, she goes, never give up. Thank you, Ann, for so much for being here. We're here every single week, Friday night, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I could talk. Zenpool Gaming has been here all night. I can't remember what your name is, but thank you so much for being here. Never ever give up. Same exact message. Look at that. Perfect. Lucy Gonzalez is in the house. She says, my first time listening tonight. Love it. Thank you, Lucy, so much for being here. We appreciate you. Like I said, we're here every single week, bringing the awesomeness. There's awesome. So Scott says here, thank you, Chris and Scott. Again, here's another one. Never, ever give up. Never. Now I have a Rick Astley song in my head. Sorry. And Scott says, I always love listening to Tony, but hearing Christopher and Scott's perspective has been awesome as well. Thank you, Scott. We appreciate you. So final thoughts from your perspective on the whole conversation tonight. I know you missed part of it, but I know you know Tony. So what do you think we can do to send the listeners and the viewers off with a little bit of insight and what they could potentially do for their own self?
Yeah, and let's sum it up into simple things that we've kind of been echoing. Well, first and foremost, connection's everything, okay? And connection needs to occur once you find your own brilliance or your purpose. So we look at Tony, we look at you, we look at myself. We're in line with our purpose. Tony fell into it in a way that maybe is not desired. Many people out there right now might be halfway there or almost there. One of the things you and I talk about all the time is how do we find that purpose? And what I would suggest to everybody is to start listening to yourself, start meditating more, start leaning in and start saying, what's my purpose here? How can I share and do the right things for this planet, for this world, and change this place for the better? And so Tony did it in a way, honestly by accident, but he found it and he's doing it. You're doing it, Chris. I'm doing it. I know everybody here is doing it. I would just ask, come back and listen to us, check us out. Because one of the things that Chris and I are doing nonstop is, to Tony's point, is sharing our brilliance, helping you fall in love with this planet, and just trying to make this place a better world, because there's just so many good things going on. And Tony's point of just be good, it sounds so silly simple, but listen to that. Just be good. Do some good things. I mean, sit with that for a second. Just do some good things. That's it.
I would agree wholeheartedly, Scott. I mean, the thing I would sum it up with is, the fact that what Tony says, take responsibility, ladies and gentlemen, you guys out there, take responsibility for where you're at. Where are you at right now? Are you happy? Are you miserable? Are you sad? Are you conflicted? Are you frustrated? Whatever it is, wherever you might be right now, accept responsibility that you're at where you're at based on the choices that you made. Tony talked about choices a lot. He had a choice to whether to be a victim or a victor. He had a choice whether to have a mission or, just like go by the wayside and just like crumble up into a ball. each one of us has a responsibility to sit there and choose in that moment whether or not we're going to be part of the solution or part of the problem. And bitching, pissing, moaning, playing the someday game, trying to blame other people for where you're at will not work. It will not work. Wherever you're at, whatever your situation is, you don't necessarily have to have cancer, but you have to accept responsibility for where you're at and the choices that you've made that have resulted to where you're at right now. But ladies and gentlemen, at any particular moment in life, you can switch where you're at by associating with different people, by associating with different opportunities and perspectives in your mind, by reading books that actually change your mind, going out there and being active. There's no excuse anymore. There really isn't. When people sit there and say, I don't know, all you have to do is go to Google and YouTube and find out, and put on something on social media. Does anybody have any experience with this? Can they help me? You have to reach out and you have to extend an arm, because it's not being weak. It's about being strong. When you're in a situation where you're asking for help, that's not a sign of weakness. That's a sign of strength. So we just applaud each and every one of you guys for being here. All our new viewers, we're here again every single Friday night, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. The Unfiltered Experience. Go to www.theunfilteredexperience.com. You can join our Facebook family, be a part of the crew, the Unfiltered crew. We would love to have you. And for everybody who's watched this entire episode, thank you. Please, if you want to share this out, let us know how this is impacting you. Let us know that what we can do to support you, other types of ideas and guests that we could have on the show that can speak to something that's going on in your life. Scott and I would love the opportunity to pour into you guys and help you out and have us all grow at the same time. We love you. Appreciate you. Zen says here, hasta la victoria siempre. Yeah. Scott says, perfect. Kellen Ann says, I have never been happier. Love it, Kellen. Thank you. Spill that out to other people. I know you will. I know you are. You're a beautiful person. Zen says, ask for as much help as you can. Give. This world belongs to us. Yes. Thank you for being here. We got somebody, Gary's actually brand new right here. He says, that was great, guys. Thanks for a great way to start the weekend. Thank you, Gary, for being here. Oh, so you know him. All right. Awesome.
Gary introduced Tony and I. So Gary's a good friend. Love Gary. Beautiful human.
Awesome, Gary. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for introducing Scott to Tony, and now Tony to me. I appreciate that. Robert says, thank you, Christopher and Scott. And with that, we want you guys to go enjoy your weekend. Please go be present in the moments. Absolutely. That's one thing that Tony has said over and over and over again, is the fact that we don't know whether we have tomorrow. We don't know whether we have the next day or the next day after that. Just be present in the moments. I know when I get off this call right now, this show, I'm going to pause for a second. I got my son and my wife downstairs. I'm going to say, what are my intention? My intention is to go downstairs and be a great dad, be a great husband, go enjoy your moments, live in a state of gratitude, not in a state of scarce and laxity, lack and scarcity. Damn, I've been using my words today. It's not because I had to
lean into abundance, Chris. We're going to get
lean into abundance. All right, guys, we're Chris and Scott. We're the Unfiltered crew. We love you guys. We'll see you here next week.